The Worst of Times, Chapter 7. The NTIS, for that is the acronym often used to refer to the National Technology and Internet Supplier, was far larger and more grand than anything I have ever before seen in all my life. It had at least 15 stories, and many balconies and other rooms projecting off the sides of it, hovering precariously over empty air. It seemed to be built of one big metal block, and there were no windows on it that I could see. It stretched up and up and up and up, reaching far above my head and into the sky. I felt positively flummoxed by such a structure, dwarfed by such a thing of seeming grandeur. I felt smaller and more insignificant in that moment than I have ever felt before, nor have felt since. At the mere sight of the enormous thing, I was instantly assailed by countless doubts and worries, but, gritting my teeth, I managed to shove them all aside and step up to the front of the building, with Lucy at my side. At first, I was unsure of what to do, but an opening appeared automatically in the bright metal, a sort of double doorway through which we passed. When one first stepped through the door, the very first thing one noticed were the obsidian-looking desks, at which sat some 20 people, staring down at it intently, occasionally writing something or other on it with their fingers. Lucy and I ducked down as quickly as we could. Fortunately, none of the people at the desks had noticed us, or even glanced up when the front entrance was opened. I did not think much of it at the time, but now it seems odd to me that they did not notice us. I can only guess that they must have been too absorbed in their work. Lucy pointed out the digital map of the building on the side of one of the desks. Whispering softly to me in my ear, she said that she would figure out the direction. She studied the map closely for several moments, before crawling into a passage to the right. I followed closely behind. I will spare you the account of our steady journey through the NTIS, only saying that there were several moments in which we were nearly caught. But Lucy, as it turned out, had the most excellent sense of direction, and eventually we came to a room with something in it. That something is rather hard to describe. It was like a whale standing on its tail, if you can imagine a whale standing on its tail, only it was covered in lights and knobs and buttons, and the entire thing was lit up like so many colorless fireworks. I do not know what the problem was with color in the year 2098. It was certainly more colorful than all the colors of 2025, and yet something, to me at least, always felt wrong about it. They seemed artificial, lacking any flavor. They were like the many vibrant colors of the rainbow, and at the same time just as dull and colorless as a rock. This thing was the center of technology. This thing was what sent the airwaves of internet across the city in order to feed everyone's pleasures, to grab them by the ankle and drag them down an endless rabbit hole, deeper than any other rabbit hole, deeper even than the rabbit hole one would find in such a book as Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. It was this thing that Lucy and I demolished. We broke off the knobs and rubbed the wires together. The wires started the fire, and we fled the place in deep satisfaction. We fled, knowing that surely by now someone must know that there were intruders in the National Technology and Internet Supplier. We came to another room where iPhones and computers were being manufactured, where tablets spoke with robotic voices. So consumed was I with rage over what such devices as these had done to mankind, I went mad, tearing about the room, destroying every device I came in contact with. Some I grabbed and shoved in my pockets, for what reason you shall hear of before long. I do not know what possessed me at that moment. It was some sort of uncontrollable maniac rage, I suppose. This was the part of my whole experience in 2098 that I cannot wholly remember. I cannot recall my feelings then, nor anything much besides that I went mad. As all this was happening, we heard the dim voices of men and women somewhere, coming to kill us perhaps. I looked at Lucy, and Lucy looked at me. They were after us. And so we did the only logical thing we could have done. We fled. We fled from the room, down countless hallways, up innumerable flights of stairs, never halting for even a moment. We fled for I do not know how long, climbing steadily up the tall tower, until we had come to a dead end. Or so it seemed. The door opened automatically above us, through which we entered. And now we were on the very top of the NTIS. Looking downwards, I saw far below me the figures of many people. People in a great crowd gathered below us, and I hollered down so that they might hear, "You are fools, all of you. Since when did men allow computers to control them? Since when did men like you come to care for things so trivial that every greater thing that has ever existed is lost upon you? Since when did men lose all interest in things that truly matter? You are fools, all of you. I come from the past, from 70 years before you, and I have come to your time to say that you have made this the worst of times. What does comfort matter? Why should everything be easier for us? I am not saying that you should try to make life as hard as possible for yourselves, but it is better than an easy life. A hard life is a good life. A hard life is a life worth living. In a hard life is better shown the glory of the good Lord's work. You are fools, all of you. Since when did men care so little for the children that they gave into their children's possession rubbish which does no good for them? Since when did men become so lazy that they let something as unintelligent and dead as AI attempt to teach children what to think? Do not merely teach children what to think, but teach them how to think. And do not let creations of evil such as AI corrupt their minds. The intelligence of children is not artificial, so do not allow it to become so. I came here from the year 2025 to tell you these things. I am horrified by what I have seen here. I am horrified at the position in which mankind has put themselves. I took the iPhones and the tablets out of my pockets, and I dropped them from on high, letting them fall so many feet below before coming to shatter on the ground. Lucy tore a computer and threw it in half. She ran ahead of me and back into the building, yelling as she did so, "We need to get down there before they kill us in this place." I ran down after her, filled with a sort of exhilaration and ecstasy as I ran. We ran, and we ran, and we ran. We ran, and we ran, and we ran. We ran into several people whom we immediately ran around. I do not know how we managed it, but in the end, we escaped. The entire chase down the NTIS had been a blur. And now we ran through the streets, being chased by so many. We ran until we came to my time machine. I hoisted Lucy up onto it, and had almost clambered on myself when my ankle was caught. A man in a thin blue suit was glaring into my eyes with such ferocity and hatred as I had never before seen in a person. I kicked him, but he would not relinquish his hold. And now the crowd was pressing in upon us, and I shouted at Lucy to set the time machine to 2025. She did so, but nothing happened. I screamed and yelled and kicked, but the man would not let go. "It's not working," Lucy shouted in fear, and that's when it hit me. The theory of relativity. Travel into a future time was entirely possible, but not so was travel into the past. I could never go back. I was doomed to never go back to my present time. Despite myself, I wept bitterly and gnashed my teeth, and did the only thing I could think of to do. I prayed. I prayed to the good Lord that if I was to be killed, to at least spare Lucy, who had given me hope for the future where before there had been none. I cried and screamed and wailed. And that's when Lucy leapt out of my time machine. She landed on the man holding me and pulled him back so that he toppled over, letting go of my ankle. I clambered onto the machine, shouting for Lucy, but the crowd was piling on top of her, and they were coming for me. And then I traveled through time for the second time in my life. Day and night were melded into one. I was gone, lost in the swirling infinite vortex of time and space, speeding away to who knew where, faster than light could travel, through the infinite well of time. That is the end of Chapter 7. The 8th and final chapter is coming on Monday,
along with an announcement.